fans are a misunderstood bunch. Regardless of whatever content or action we're subjected to, you can bet your ass we'll find something wrong with it, and as fans, we have every right to do so. After all, we are the ones who are investing our time and money into the thing we enjoy. Yet fans aren't always right, and sometimes what seems like WWE dropping the ball can actually become a wise decision in the long run, leading to huge box office numbers or the protecting of one of their integral stars. With all that in mind, I'm Gareth Morgan, and these are 10 times that WWE were right not to give the fans what they wanted. Number 10. Sting vs. The Undertaker. If you could book just one dream match from the last 30 years, a large section of fans would point their fingers towards the seemingly impossible matchup between WWE's resident phenom, The Undertaker, and WCW's franchise, Sting. So, in 2014, when the icon finally emerged from the wrestling wilderness, that dream suddenly edged a little bit closer. However, Sting would quickly be thrown into a war with Triple H and lost his debut match at WrestleMania 31, whilst The Undertaker found himself occupied with a pre-Fiend Bray Wyatt on the show of shows. Many would argue that Sting should have been launched straight into a feud with the dead man upon arrival, but they probably forget just what version of Taker we found ourselves with in 2014-15. Unfortunately, he was a shell of the performer who'd stole the show in the twilight of his career against the likes of Batista, Edge, and CM Punk, meaning that any potential Sting matchup could have produced something along the lines of what we witnessed Goldberg and Taker present at Super Showdown in 2019, and I'd very much like to forget that ever happened. Number 9. 4 Horsewomen of WWE vs 4 Horsewomen of MMA. Ever since Ronda Rousey was linked with a move to WWE shores, the concept of a 4 Horsewomen of WWE vs 4 Horsewomen of MMA matchup was always on the cards for fans. Yet, despite the WWE foursome definitely offering an interesting dynamic with their conflicting histories, and easily being able to steal the show on any given night, Rousey and current NXT Women's Champ Shayna Baszler aside, the other 2 potential former MMA competitors simply aren't ready for the degree of spotlight that would come with this level of event. Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir are still cutting their teeth as Baszler's task force on NXT, and any attempt to catapult them into a main event feud like this could reap disastrous consequences for their development. So WWE are wise to wait for the moment when all involved are in a position to make this the absolute classic it absolutely has to be. Number 8. The Fiend vs Brock Lesnar vs Adam Cole at Survivor Series. When it soon became apparent that NXT would be joining in with this year's Survivor Series brand supremacy bollocks, and the black and yellow brand subsequently invaded SmackDown on the Friday after Crown Jewel took place, fans were thrust into joyous fantasy booking overload. The match at the top of their list? NXT champion Adam Cole versus WWE champion Brock Lesnar versus Universal champion The Fiend Bray Wyatt. Oh my god. Oh god, I just gotta calm down a minute. Okay, I may have got a little bit excited just even saying that. However, WWE instead opted to give us 3 one-on-one title matches for each piece of respective gold, and fans felt as though the chance for such a once-in-a-lifetime fantasy match had wrongfully been passed up on. But to throw this clash onto a Survivor Series card without much build would have felt a bit rushed, and at least one world champion would have been majorly damaged by the bout, meaning that in the long run it wouldn't have made much sense to spoil us with this one-off main event spectacle. Number 7. Anyone but Baron Corbin winning King of the Ring. Oh, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but here goes. When 2019's iteration of the King of the Ring tournament was announced and Baron Corbin was included as one of the contestants eyeing up the iconic crown and scepter, as expected, WWE fans obviously recoiled at the idea of him being crowned the victor. Yet, history taught us that a heel king often clicked better than a squeaky clean babyface monarch. And was there a better piece of crap bad guy available in the field than Corbin? Yeah, probably not. The decision led to a brilliant Corbin/The Rock/Becky Lynch exchange on the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox, and a series of excellent matches with Shorty G. So this unpopular decision looks to have successfully propped Corbin up as the genuine top heel on the blue brand. Number 6, Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble. In the build-up to the 2015 Royal Rumble, Daniel Bryan had missed multiple months of action due to a much-needed neck surgery, and many doctors had actually advised against Bryan's eventual wrestling return in January of that year. Yet Bryan listened to his heart, and would continue his feud with Kane and the Authority. WWE, however, decided against forcing him straight back into the main event spotlight, and instead opted for their new pet project, Roman Reigns, to win the controversial Royal Rumble match. Fans obviously voiced their disapproval on the night, yet WWE had their performers' best interests in mind and felt it would be too great a risk to throw Bryan at Brock Lesnar of all people so soon after returning from a career-threatening injury. Bryan would eventually be forced onto the shelf a few weeks after WrestleMania 31 due to yet another concussion-related injury, which would eventually lead to a forced retirement for the leader of the Yes Movement. Number 5. A Samoa Joe World Title Reign. Samoa Joe looked to finally be in a position to claim his inaugural world title since arriving on the main roster when he decided to bully Brock Lesnar throughout the build-up to their Universal title clash at Great Balls of Fire in 2017. I hate that name. Yet that didn't happen. He'd then go on to fail in numerous other attempts to claim the big one against the likes of AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston. The truth is, Joe simply isn't in a position anymore to be the workhorse champion that he could have been in his younger days. And he just so happens to play the terrifying challenger with so much aplomb that the idea of him now being the hunted doesn't seem logical from a booking perspective. Despite fans desperately wanting to see Joe given a world title run, the wiser decision would be to keep him as a mid-card heel gatekeeper for the remainder of his tenure as a performer. Number 4. Braun Strowman winning the Universal title at Crown Jewel. When Roman Reigns tragically announced that he would be vacating his Universal title in 2018 due to an impending battle with leukemia, the decision was made to alter the expected triple threat for the championship at Crown Jewel into a one-on-one battle for the gold between challengers Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. Strowman was the clear fan favourite to win the belt, yet Vince McMahon had other ideas and opted for Lesnar to win the match instead, because we'd never seen that before. Yet, even though the way the match played out wasn't to everyone's liking, it made sense for WWE to back Lesnar as their Universal Champion, purely because he was the only credible draw available to hold the belt at the time. Strowman's attitude had also been called into question at this moment, and his poor etiquette backstage definitely wouldn't have helped convince McMahon that he was the man to carry the belt. Number 3. The Fiend versus the Demon at SummerSlam. In 2019, Bray Wyatt's creepy, merciless alter ego made its presence known in a July episode of Monday Night Raw when The Fiend attacked Finn Balor with a Sister Abigail. This led to many fans entertaining the limitless creative potential possible for two of WWE's most fantastical characters to come to blows at the biggest party of the summer. Yet, when it came to the two's eventual clash at SummerSlam, Balor strutted down to the ring in his human form, and his fate was sealed shortly after. Though fans were deprived of a dream Demon vs Fiend match at the event, the rub Wyatt received from killing off Balor and the door being opened for the Irishman to be written off TV for a few months to rejuvenate benefited everyone involved. Balor is now reborn on NXT television, and Wyatt is currently enjoying quite a decent run as Universal Champion on SmackDown, so that one didn't work out too badly. Number 2. Roman Reigns heel turn. The argument surrounding a heel turn being beneficial to the getting over of a talent with a live audience has become synonymous with one WWE individual in particular, Roman Reigns. Fans had been quite vocal in their rejection of Reigns as the company's number one babyface, and not even the conquering of serial bullies like Triple H and Brock Lesnar could get him over as a force of good in the company. They clearly felt that the only direction deemed acceptable for the big dog involved a bitter heel turn on those who heckled him for so long. But there are a few major problems with that last statement. Roman Reigns sells merchandise, he's an excellent spokesperson for the company, and kids love him, much like they adored Super Cena before him. Therefore, it made little sense for WWE to invest in a Reigns heel turn, and after his triumphant return from a battle with leukemia in 2019, Reigns finally clicked with the majority of the live crowd, and disproved the idea of a turn being paramount for his getting over. So, yeah. Number 1. CM Punk WrestleMania main event. CM Punk became the longest reigning WWE champion of the modern era by passing John Cena's 380-day run as the champ in 2013. So fans rightfully assume that WWE must have had some epic plans in mind for him coming into WrestleMania 29, and firmly advocated Punk being gifted his long sought after main event at Mania. But then it soon became quite clear that Punk would have to wait another year to go on last at the event, when he was beaten for the title by The Rock at the Royal Rumble, and Cena outlasted 30 other men to win the titular match on the same night. Though his screwing out of his dream match by Vince McMahon would eventually lead to Punk's departure, the event set a new record for the highest grossing live event in the company's history, with a total gross of $72 million. It proved to be one of the final nails in Punk's WWE coffin, but you cannot argue with the financial results that proved Punk was the incorrect choice to go on last for the company. And that's our list. Know of any other times that WWE were right not to give the fans what they wanted? Then let us know all about it in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And why not head over to whatculture.com and read some more of our incredible articles? I've been Gareth Morgan from What Culture Wrestling, and I'm sure I'm going to see you soon.